Hello and welcome to Mini Builds, a channel about building software and electronics projects. In the last habit board video, we implemented this calendar view of the entries for a particular board. In this video, we're going to make it so that this add button opens a new page that allows us to create a board, because at the moment it just creates a board named new board. So to start, I think we're just going to rename our existing board page to view board page. That should update it everywhere. And then we'll also update this name. And then we'll start working on a new page. And we'll update the onTap method of add board to navigate to this page. So we use the same thing as last time, the navigator, and then push a material page board, router I mean. Before we test that, we'll just make it so that it renders a scaffold, and we'll just copy it from our view board page. And we'll just scrap everything in here. And just return some text that says hello. And we'll center the text. Cool. So hopefully just clicking on add board will open the page. Cool. So now we need to modify the board page to contain a text field so that we can input the name of the board. We'll give this a label of name, and we'll give it an onTap method. Will simply be the same thing as this. But instead we have to get the contents of the text field and put that in as the name. So I think the way we're meant to do that is by passing a controller that we'll keep as a field up here. So if we pass this controller into the text field, then here we can just access the text. So let's see if that works. We don't have a way of submitting, so this is not where that's meant to be. So we'll wrap this in a column and then add a button, and that'll actually do the adding, which makes way more sense. So now I've added a button that does the adding rather than having the onTap of the field do the adding. So hopefully there'll be one called habit 1, which is good. So I think I might move that up to the app bar and probably call it save. Cool, so now I've popped up there instead. Cool. We can also make it so that it pops the current page or closest to current page by just doing navigator pop. So now hopefully when we save, it'll close this page for us. Cool. So now we'll try adding an error message to the text field whenever we're writing in a name that is a duplicate of an existing board. So we'll use the onChanged method, which passes the current value, and so using the boards that already exist, if any of them have a name that matches the value in our text field. We'll also we'll ignore the case by just doing 2 lowercase v. So if any of them match, we'll add an error field up here, which we will have as blank initially. Set the error equal to a board with name already exists. Otherwise, we just set the error back to blank. And then to actually display the error, we'll just pass the error message into this error.text here. Also, because we're inside a stateful widget, we need to make any changes to our state, i.e. the changes to the error field inside a set state call. Otherwise the UI won't re-render itself. Let's try setting that to null instead of a blank message. Cool, much better. So we can disable this by just passing null into this onPressed function. So if we do check that our error is null, and if it is null then we'll just return null, otherwise we'll return the method as expected. So now hopefully we can go into here, type habit1, and that will disable this. Should be not null, of course. Cool. So it's disabled if we have an error message, but otherwise it's enabled, which works quite well. So we may as well make it so that this board page can also edit boards by taking in a board as a parameter. So we'll assume that if this board is null, then they're trying to add. Otherwise, we'll assume that they're trying to edit the board that's provided. And we'll change that to null. In our viewboard page, we'll add an edit button to the app bar. This will navigate to our board page, and this time we'll pass in a selected board. So now if we click on this, we should have a edit button. So looks like we accidentally imported something we don't want. There we go. So if we click on this, we should see an edit button up there, which is good. That will navigate to the board page, but hopefully with a special title. Perfect. So now going back to our board page, we need to make it so that the text field starts with the name of the board in it. So one way we can do that is by passing the board name into this text editing controller, and we'll do that in the constructor, the state object. So if it's null, we'll just keep it as blank, otherwise we use the board name. Let's actually pass the board in here. There we go, much better. So we'll get rid of this error message because the block it's referring to is itself. So we should just be able to add a case to this. So we want to make sure that the element is not equal to the board that we're editing. Cool, so that works. And now we need to add an edit board method to our qubit. So let's go over to our qubit and block stuff. And just add a method called edit board, and then we'll pass the name in, the new name. So with any luck, we can now edit this, click save, and it'll update. Did we actually change the method? Nope. In the case that the board is null, then we add as normal. Otherwise, we'll edit it. So now hopefully if we go and edit that board's name, add A, B, C, it'll be reflected in our list up here, which is good. Cool, I think there's one other thing to do actually. We need to, if our selected board is equal to that board, then we want to replace it with the new board that we've just created. So we'll call that edited board. And if the selected board is equal to the board that we were editing, then replace it with the edited board. Otherwise leave it the same. So now hopefully if we add a D onto the end of there and click save, it updates this as well, which is good. And hopefully it shouldn't destroy anything that we already have. We go back in here, add E, that all looks good. Cool, so now we can add new boards with the names that we intend, and also edit existing boards, or at least the name of them, which is a good place to stop. So in the next video we're going to persist our state, because at the moment every time we do a reset, everything will disappear and we'll just go back to the original block board from block thing with no entries in it. So what we're going to do is serialize our state, which is just this this habit board state, into JSON and then write it to a file or something like that. Thanks for watching, hopefully see you in the next video.